2 weeks until the 2026 NFL Draft begins in Pittsburgh. So here I am doing a mock draft 3.0. My final mock draft, by the way, will begin in 2 weeks before the draft begins on, I'm assuming, Thursday. So the fourth and final mock draft will happen on a Monday or Tuesday. So let's get to this. There's going to be some trades that I'm probably making like a realistic, but a little more fun. So, number one pick, Raiders. They select Fernando Mendoza. No surprise here. They did sign Kirk Cousins, however, but I don't think that's going to matter because when you're drafting Fernando Mendoza, it's going to be a more of a excitement of him hopefully become a starter in the NFL this year, even though it's going to be a quarterback competition between him and Kirk Cousins. So I like him probably competing against Kirk Cousins for the starting job in Vegas. New York Jets. Jets select Arvell Reese. I think they need a Micah Parsons type of a guy in New Jersey, and I like the Jets getting Arvell Reese. Cardinals, I went back and forth with this one. Francis Melagonia, David Bailey, and I went to David Bailey. I like David Bailey to the Cardinals to pair up with Josh Sweat. Tennessee Titans, I got Jeremiah Love. Fits very well for Brian Daboll's offense. They do need another weapon, wide receiver, yes, but I do think they are going to need more on the backfield. I think Jeremiah Love fits in this direction. New York Giants, I got the Giants selecting Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Really love the fit there. Makes too much sense for me and probably for all of you who probably would say, yeah, it makes sense. I do think it makes a lot of sense. So give me Sonny Styles to the Giants. Carnell Tate, I got the Browns selecting Carnell Tate. So wide receiver number one, hopeful, probably is the number one receiver for the Browns. He and Jerry Jeudy with Shedeur Sanders on offense. It's going to be a lot of fun with that offense, even though they're in a tighter division. Yep. And watch the Commanders. This is the change. I have the Commanders getting Caleb Downs. Yes, they do have Nick Cross. Yes, they got Revis also, but they need another strong safety in that secondary, and I do think Caleb Downs fits in that Dan Quinn defense. New Orleans Saints, I got them selecting Mikael Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. He's a 1-2 punch. He kind of reminds me of an Amon-Ra, St. Brown type of guy, but also a Drake London guy. So I do think he fits with this Kellen Moore offense. Him with Chris Olave, Travis Etienne. I don't know how I want to call him, ETN or Etienne. Alvin Kamara, which we'll see what happens in his future. And then Tyler Shuck as their quarterback. This offense could look a little interesting in the NFC South with Mikael Lemon in the Saints. Chiefs, I got them selecting Francis Melagonia, tackle out of Miami. Probably is a right tackle battle between Jalen Moore and Melagonia. Put him in right tackle, fits very well to Chiefs offense. Cincinnati Bengals will select Ruben Bain Jr. I think if that were to happen, if they do get Ruben Bain, you put him on one side, Boye Mafe on the other. Remember, they signed him on a 3-year deal, but they need somebody else on the other side. Yes, they got Shamar Stewart, of course. In year 2, he should be a real good superstar with the Bengals. But I do think they want to go another younger superstar in the mix, and Ruben Bain Jr. could be that missing piece in the edge. So I like him going to the Bengals. Miami Dolphins, they need a number one receiver. I like them getting Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. The Dallas Cowboys, they're going to upgrade a bunch of their needs of their defense. So why not adding another corner in their secondary? And that is Mansour Delane, corner out of LSU. Him with Deron Bland could be a great duo there in Dallas. And again, I do think Dallas will win the division this year because of what they're doing to their defense. Yes, they got everything on the offense. George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. That offense is settled. Can they fix the defense? It looks like they're doing that. And what a way they're doing. They did a great job in free agency, hiring Christian Parker as their defensive coordinator. And I do think if you were to add another number 2 corner in Dallas, Mansour Delane fits very clear in Dallas. All right, I got the Rams trading down with the Detroit Lions. And with this pick, with 13th pick, the Detroit Lions select Spencer Fano, tackle out of Utah. I've been hearing the reports of that Penei Sewell could move from right tackle to left tackle. If that comes true, now they say if they have to make a decision, I think if you want to replace his position from right tackle, go draft somebody. I think Spencer Fano fits in Detroit. He's a plug-in guy. You can move Penei Sewell at left tackle, which he's played left tackle before in college, and put Spencer Fano on the other side in right tackle. And he can perfectly fit in that newly looked offensive line for the Detroit Lions. Baltimore Ravens. Ravens need some corner help. Again, they do have Nate Wiggins. They got Marlon Humphrey. I know Chidobe Awuzie, they re-signed him. But I do think there's going to have to be a time they move on with Marlon Humphrey. And then plus Chidobe Awuzie is not going to be in this team for long. So give me another corner that is going to be in Baltimore. I like Dramont McCoy, who is dealing with an ACL injury. Once he's healthy, he fits in this Jesse Minter defense. I like him going to Baltimore. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yes, Levante David is already retired, but they do replace him. They still got Christian Roseboom and Alex Anzalone to this defense. But they need some help at the edge. So adding this player here, Kendrick Falk, edge rusher out of Auburn. I think he's a plug-in guy for Todd Bowles' defense. And he could go right away as a starter for this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. New York Jets, again, I'm still going to go with Ty Simpson, quarterback out of Alabama. Unless if the Jets were to trade back down. Let's say if they trade with the Steelers, for example, and the Steelers select Ty Simpson. Then where are the Jets going to go? Is Geno Smith still clearly QB1? Which again, Eric Lynn confirms he is QB1. He's the starter for the 2026 season. But they need competition, and I do think Ty Simpson fits with the Jets. All right, back to the Rams, where I had the Rams trading down with the Lions from 13 all the way to 17. So with the 17th pick, the Rams select Caleb Lomu, tackle out of Utah. I think they need to replace right tackle. Caleb Lomu can play right tackle. He has played left tackle before, but they can slide him in right tackle. And he's a plug-in guy for Sean McVay's offense. Minnesota Vikings. I got the Vikings selecting Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. They need to replace Javon Hargrave plus Jonathan Allen, who both head to free agency. Peter Woods fits in Brian Flores' defensive scheme. I like that fit for the Vikings. The Carolina Panthers. In my last mock draft, I had them trading down with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's not going to happen this time. I have the Panthers selecting Avion Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. They need a slot corner. And yes, Cam Smith-Wade is their starter for that one. but they need competition. And Avion Terrell could be a great fit for Giro's defense. And he's he's the younger brother of AJ Terrell, who's with the Falcons. Now, imagine his younger brother going to a division rival with the Carolina Panthers. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles. I got the Eagles trading up with the Dallas Cowboys. How about that? The Cowboys trading down to their division rivals, and with that pick, which is the 19th pick, I'm assuming, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. They are going to need some skilled players. And yes, this is a team that is going to make some trade-ups if they're going to make some big-time push. And again, Dallas Goedert is on a one-year deal. So why not adding a guy that's going to be there for 4 years, 4 or 5 years, if the fifth-year option is there. I like Kenyon Sadiq to the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers select Vega Alua, guard out of Penn State. He can play left guard. They did lose Isaac Salomo, who is now with the Cardinals, so he can be a starter left tackle right away in Mike McCarthy's offense. Chargers. I got the Chargers selecting Akeem Masur, edge out of Miami. Yes, Khalil Mack has a one-year deal, but is this going to be his final year? And if it is, bring in somebody who can be alongside Tuli Tulupo. Akeem Mansour fits there with the Chargers. Now back to the Cowboys. The Cowboys selecting C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. They need that middle linebacker, guys. And again, this defense is really going to be a lot younger than it were through all these years. So C.J. Allen fits. He goes to Dallas as a Cowboy. All right, the Cleveland Browns. They select Marlon Freeland, tackle out of Georgia. He's going to plug in at left tackle. Fits very perfectly with the Browns. Chicago Bears. I went with an interesting pick. I'm going with Dylan Thamlin, safety out of Oregon. Again, they got Kobe Bryant from the Seahawks. They lost Jaquan Brisker to the Steelers. So replace him with a younger, rising superstar that can fit in Dennis Allen's defense. And Dylan Thamlin, who plays safety, can fit in this Bears defense. Him alongside Kobe Bryant would be a great look at that Bears defense. All right, the Buffalo Bills selecting another receiver in Casey Conseniship or Casey Consenepo. Sorry, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Yes, he's probably going to end up competing for that third job with Joshua Palmer and Keon Coleman. He is going to be a speedster, so I do think that's what they want in Joe Brady's offense, and that is give Josh Allen a weapon that has some speed in this offense. 49ers, I got the Niners selecting Caden Porcher, tackle out of Alabama. He could be a left tackle for the 49ers, but again, they have to make a decision on if they're going to keep Trent Williams or trade him to another team and maybe plug in someone like a Caden Porcher who could play left tackle for the 49ers. Houston Texans, I like them selecting Caden McDonald, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. They need some help in the defensive line. I think Caden McDonald makes a lot of sense in DeMeco Ryans' defense. Kansas City Chiefs select Brennan Cece, corner out of South Carolina. Think about those cornerbacks the Chiefs drafted. Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson. Those guys did a lot of great things with Kansas City. They both were Super Bowl champs, by the way. They can do this again with bringing in a younger cornerback. And what better way to do in this draft than bringing Brennan Cece from South Carolina heading to Kansas City. He can be a great corner, a true number one corner for Steve Spagnuolo's defense. Miami Dolphins, I got the Dolphins selecting TJ Parker, edge out of Clemson. They need somebody on the other side alongside Chop Robinson. I like TJ Parker in this Jeff Hafley defense and could be a good duo there in South Beach. New England Patriots selecting, I got them selecting Cashel Howell, edge out of Texas A&M. Yes, they did lose some of their big names like LaCavion Chason, but signing Dramon Jones, he's getting a little older, so give them a younger pass rusher, and Cashel Howell fits there with Texas A&M. And then finally, the defending Super Bowl champs select Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. They need some cornerback help. Yes, they brought in one back and one coming in from Washington, but they need some cornerback help, and I think Colton Hood fits a lot in this Mike Macdonald defense. That's it for my NFL Mock Draft 3.0. Again, my 4.0 will not happen in 2 weeks, either Monday or Tuesday. If you have not seen my other videos, go check them out on my channel. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news.